So the 49ers dominated the Jets last night, and it's safe to say everyone, including myself, was wrong about that Super Bowl hangover. Welcome in another video, The Seth Floyd Show, live from my office, talking about 49ers and Jets from last night and the projection for this season. Before we get there, guys, we're at 104 subscribers. Freaking love it. 104. I'm not sure I ever even imagined I was going to get there. Pretty stoked off it. But because we hit 100, that means this card, okay? Oh, hiding. This card, we're going to pick a winner this week, and I'm going to send it out to that winner. We will decide that this week. Thursday, I will record another video and we will announce who the winner is and how to cash in on your prize, okay? So, you're watching this, make sure you tune in for Thursday's video. It'll probably drop on Friday, but we will announce the winner and you will collect your prize. You just gotta follow the directions. But you guys are awesome. Maybe we'll have another giveaway for 200 subscribers. Josh and I will collab on that. We'll figure it out. My producer, Joshua Richard Hansen, my editor, my producer, anyway, he and I will come up with something and try to get more subscribers. Guys, keep sharing the videos. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all you've done, making my dreams come true. Hopefully one day, full-time content creator. That would be awesome. The 49ers last night, guys. Now, I said in the intro, I think I was wrong about the Niners in a good way. Happy I'm wrong. There is no evidence of a Super Bowl hangover. And if there was ever going to be a team that was going to have a Super Bowl hangover, it would have been this team, given all the weird stuff that happened this offseason. Ayuk missing all of camp. Trent Williams not showing up till the same time. Ayuk, all of camp, gone, okay? Those guys were going to be rusty. You had Ricky Pearsall get shot in the chest. Thank goodness he's okay. But I won't say better than okay, but literally getting shot in the chest and he's on the sidelines, no surgery. Everyone thinks he's going to play week 5 after he comes off IR. Like, literally, thank heavens. I don't know if you're religious people. I'm a religious person, so I'm thanking my Heavenly Father up above for protecting that young man, because what a crazy story. I'm grateful for him, grateful to how that situation has played out so far. But talk about a weird thing that happened. And then we get to Monday Night Football. Like, the nerves are pumping, pretty excited. Jets are supposed to be one of the better teams in the AFC, at least if Rodgers is healthy. We've heard about that defense. We've heard what Rodgers is going to do. And about 2 hours before kickoff, hour and a half before kickoff, you get the breaking news that CMC is not going to play because of that calf strain Achilles, which we will get to later. But if there was a team that was going to have a Super Bowl hangover, especially the first week, it was this 49ers team. And guess what? They came out and just beat the crap out of the Jets. Okay, physically, if you watch that game, physically, they outmatched them. Now, I will say in the first half, there was a portion of the game, especially that first quarter, where I felt like the Jets brought it on defense. I felt like they were going physical, toe-to-toe, and I was like, man, there's really a backyard brawl, a dogfight on our hands. But it became pretty apparent in the second quarter and then into the second half that they were going to play bully ball. The 49ers were, especially on offense, bully ball and give them no hope. And oh my goodness, there's a few ways I want to go, a few topics I want to cover on here. First, let's start with the defense. If this is how the defense is going to look all season, good luck. At least the NFC. We won't talk about the Chiefs. I won't talk about the Ravens because they've handled us. But the rest of the NFC, good freaking luck. Okay, I'm talking about all levels. Now, I was high on the defense. I felt like the defense was not being talked about enough because of this Ayuk situation, the Trent Williams situation. But the defense is going to be better, okay? And they showed it last night. If you're a 49er fan, you know what I'm talking about, okay? They showed last night why they're going to be better. Guys, Malik Collins. Now, everyone wanted to talk about Eric Armstead leaving to go to Jacksonville, and the 49ers, to replace him, they traded for Malik Collins from Houston. Now, I loved Armstead. I was an Armstead guy, okay? I wish we'd kept DeForest Buckner over Armstead, but I loved Armstead. Guys, Armstead has missed a handful of games each season. I should have looked up the number. I'm kind of in a hurry, lunch break. But he's missed 4 or 5 games of each of the last few seasons, okay? He hasn't always been there. And guys, when you compare Malik Collins to Eric Armstead, it was like 20-something games that they've played. The production is like identical, the same. And in some categories, Malik Collins was better. And last night, Malik Collins showed up. I'm not saying he had a bunch of tackles for loss, but he was in the backfield. He was getting a push. He was doing the things that you saw Eric Armstead do, and he was doing it at the fraction of the price that Eric Armstead cost. Javon Hargrave, who last year was the big free agent signing for the 49ers. Everyone was really high on him. And then he kind of had a disappointing season, especially in the run game. I think he had 7 sacks last year, which is pretty good from an interior defensive lineman. But in the run game, everyone kind of suffered, including Hargrave. Well, Hargrave showed up last night. Hargrave is chomping at the bit to prove that he's worth that contract he signed. Leonard Floyd is going to be a great addition opposite of Nick Bosa. He is the best bookend Nick Bosa's had since D Ford, the early D Ford season, part of 2019. But Nick Bosa wasn't who he was yet at that point. So you're getting Nick Bosa in his prime, bookend with Leonard Floyd, who's just like relentless. That's the best way to put it. He doesn't give up. He plays the whistle like he's 49er through and through. That's how you want to play. Just, guys, the run game. Breece Hall couldn't do anything last night. 16 carries for 54 yards. He had the touchdown. Good for him. Had a few catches at the end of the game. He had a couple bigger runs, but like at the end of the game when it was like a 3-score game in the fourth quarter, stifling run defense. That reminded me of the 2019 49ers run defense. It just gets my juices flowing, man. Like when you can stop the run, when a team cannot run on you, it is just demoralizing for that other team. It swings the momentum. Golly, it gets me fired up, man. They looked so good. And credit to Nick Sorensen, the new defensive coordinator, because he fixed that. The biggest problem with the run defense last year, it sounded like, was schematically something in Steve Wilks' defense. Like, not here to rip on Steve Wilks. I'm not in the weeds on it. I don't know exactly what it was, but it sounded like from you pick some parts of interviews, press conferences, it was a schematic thing that was really hurting the defense in the run game. Whatever it was, it looked great last night. Isaac Yiadom in the secondary. Now, why am I picking Isaac Yiadom? Because he is a starter in this league. He is, I would say, an above average starter. I'm not going to call him an all-pro or even a pro bowler, but he is a missing piece that they have missed in that secondary. Last year, it was, it was Mooney Ward, all-pro. Diamador Lenore, this incredibly ascending player who is still ascending, he doesn't get the interception last night, but he's the reason that pick happened. He got his hand in there on the Garrett Wilson throw in the third quarter, and it caused the pick. He's a very good player. I think he's going to have an all-pro season. I think he is. I think that's where he's headed. But then you've also got, so that was last year, but anytime you went nickel, we're bringing in Isaiah Oliver, Ambry Thomas, like a bunch of guys that you would not consider starters in this league. Well, now with Isaac Yiadom, what the Niners have is you have Mooney Ward on one side, you have Diamador Lenore on the other in base package. When they go nickel, now you move Diamador Lenore in the slot and you have Yiadom at the outside, and Yiadom made a couple plays. That fourth down play where the game wasn't officially out of hand, I think we were in the fourth quarter, but it was a 2-score game, 16-point game. The Niners, that run defense, huge stop on 3rd and 1. And then you come back to, the Jets threw it for some reason on 4th and 1, probably because they were like, holy crap, we can't run the ball. Tried to go slant to Garrett Wilson, and Isaac Yiadom maybe got there, hit the hands instead of the ball, but it was like bang, bang. Heck of a defensive play. Isaac Yiadom is going to be an unsung hero because it allows us to have such a higher floor in our secondary. And Diamador Lenore in the slot, just freaking fantastic, guys. It gives me chills. I just tingles. Like the dopamine hits this morning have just been off the charts as I relive that game. It's just, that's how defense is supposed to be played. And that was my big question for the defense, of course, is Drake Greenlaw being out. It's a tough injury, especially because he suffered it in February. You're probably not getting him back before Thanksgiving. Now, Devondre Campbell came in, and he's a very solid starter. Very solid starter, especially in the run game. Better run game guy than pass game guy. Is there some drop-off from Dre Greenlaw? Yes. But the elevation of the secondary, the elevation of the defensive line and how well they're defending the run will offset whatever you lose from Drake Greenlaw. And it looks good. And that's what you're going to get Drake Greenlaw back eventually, hopefully a few weeks before the playoffs. Hufanga still hasn't played. He was out. You've got young guys, new guys stepping up with these other vets that are just like a staple in the defense that are going to come back. And it should only elevate everything we're doing. That's another thing. You want to talk about Super Bowl hangover. Your linebacker, who could be a starter on probably like 25, 30 other teams in this league, he just gets overshadowed because of Fred Warner. He's out. You've got Hufanga, who was an all-pro 2 years ago. He's out still because of his ACL. And the defense looked like they got better. Every excuse to have a Super Bowl hangover, the 49ers had it. And they flipped the bird to it and said, screw you guys, we're going to keep playing ball. Fred Warner. I need to talk about Fred Warner and then we'll move on. Fred Warner needs to be in the Defensive Player of the Year discussions. He should have been in it last year. He deserves to be in it again this year. He won't win it. I get it. TJ Watt, probably the best defensive player in the league right now. He's fantastic. He deserves to win it if he goes on to win it. I'm just saying Fred needs to be in that talk. I know we weigh pass rushers on defense the same way we weigh quarterbacks on offense, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but Fred is the quarterback of that team. He is the heartbeat of that defense. He is all over the freaking field. That punch out on Breece Hall last night, the dude just brings it. Every snap of every game, he brings it, going 1,000 miles an hour and looking for blood. Smart, can cover, causing turnovers. Like, guys, he deserves to be in that conversation. He is so freaking good at what he does. He just brings it, man. That defense, look out. Now, it's just week one. I get it. But that defense, early returns, I feel good about my prediction that the defense was going to be better because they looked freaking phenomenal last night. The offense, let's talk about this real quick and then I'll be done. You have CMC last minute scratch. Of course, the story of the offense is Jordan Mason. Fantastic. But every 49er fan who has watched this team and follows training camp and all of that, everyone who's like a 49er fan, I think the least surprising thing about last night was that Jordan Mason ran for 147 yards and a tutty. That is not surprising to any of us because we've known how good of a running back he is. He's a bruiser. He's a mini Marshawn Lynch. Mini Marshawn. He just brings it. Every play, every run, he's hitting you in the face. And yes, he got stonewalled a couple times, but it was a big collision, okay? And he ain't scared of anybody, okay? He is a classic, I'm going to turn this 3-yard gain into an 8-yard gain, this 8-yard gain into a 15-yard gain. And no, he's probably not going to have 70-yard touchdowns like my boy Ashton Jeanty. Go watch that video. He's going to be in the Heisman race. But he's going to have these 25 to 30-yard runs. He's going to make his money in this league turning 8-yard runs into 15-yard runs because he's a load. He is a freaking load. You better bring the whole defense to take him down. So that was the least surprising thing ever. But let's just talk about the offense. You want to talk, excuses for Super Bowl hangover. Ayuk looked rusty, just like I thought. Ayuk was going to be rusty. Holy crap, dude. Catch the ball in the back of the end zone. And you could see it post-game. You could see Ayuk on the sidelines. He was pretty somber, and it made me forgive him, if that makes sense. I forgave him because I was like, he gets it. He understands. I'm not saying he was wrong for holding out, but he understands that not being there is affecting him. And I think in his mind, he's thinking, I've got to step it up. I got to put in some extra work. I got to get there. Trent played every snap, but man, he had to get an IV. First, all 49er fans, if you were like me, you were going through the same thing. You saw Trent Williams walk into the locker room and your heart dropped, your stomach dropped. And then you found out, it's just an IV. He's cramping. You had every reason to be like, man, this team is really going to stall out. And at first I did. At first in that first quarter, I was like, man, we went 3 and out. We got the big fumble recovery and all we got was a field goal. Still no first downs. It was not looking good to start because CMC out just changes so much. And then we went 8 straight scoring drives. Now, yes, 6 of those scoring drives were field goals. But that made we scored 32 points and had 6 field goals. Shout out to Jake Moody, by the way. 2 50-plus yard field goals, 6 for 6, 2 for 2 on your extra points, incredible. Yes, he doinked the one. That was kind of cool. Please don't do that again, but 2 50-yard field goals, another 40-yard field goal. Just Thank you, sir. Good job. You deserve every bit of the praise you get from that, okay? This game, you could have scored 50. If you finish if McCaffrey plays and he's 100%, it's a good chance you score at least 40. At least 2 of those field goals turn into touchdowns, and you're in the 40 range. You could have scored more. Like, whatever. You scored 32 points and you kicked 6 field goals. This is incredible. And I just want to say about Purdy, his stat line is not going to show it. He went 19 for 29, 231 yards. I think 19 for 29. Oh, my phone's recording. I can't look it up. I got my 10. Guys, freaking accountant. This is what we do, guys. 19. Oh, gosh, I haven't used this thing in a little bit. Actually, if we're being honest. 65%. Okay, he was a 65% passer rating. There were a couple balls that were kind of dropped. He had a couple misfires, wide open guys. That completion percentage could have been closer to 70, but 65%, 231 yards. But it's definitely not the stat line, okay, because he didn't have the touchdown. If I catches it, the stat line looks better. But if you watch the game, if you watch ball and you understand it, I'm talking more than just like, oh, I watch on Sundays, whatever, but like you've studied it to an extent, whether you've played it, whether you've been in coaches' meetings as a coach, like you look at the things Purdy does and he makes some pretty dang good throws. Impressive, high-level throws in important situations. He's moving the chains on third downs, and he's doing everything that you could ask of him. He had one bad series where he airmailed Juszczyk. Then on the next play, he threw it into the dirt to Kittle. Okay, got bailed out by a penalty on the defense. And then he had a bad decision later on that drive, 3rd and 2. He tried to go over the top for like a home run play to Eric Saubert when he should have just hit Jordan Mason, who was running an option route, and he was wide open. And he probably, I don't think he would have scored, but it would have been like a 20-yard gain after a 5-yard throw, which I know he's looking back and he wishes he would have had that. But other than that drive, Purdy was calm, cool, collected. There were no passes that were in harm's way. I guess maybe the one to Eric Saubert I was just talking about, over the top, where the safety kind of got there. I don't think there was ever real chance of him picking it off. It wasn't the best decision, but he protected the football. He moved the chains on 3rd down, like did everything you could ask for. This feels like it could be a year where like you look at the end of the year and Purdy could have less yards and less touchdowns than he had last year. But you would be like, man, I think he's taken the next step because he's just being smart with the football and being efficient still. So I'm excited about Purdy. I know people are going to freak out. People are going to talk. Maybe people will talk about the stat line. Whatever. Don't listen to that. Listen to the guys who break down film and actually look at it instead of just pointing at the box score watchers. Okay, because he's making some hard throws on 3rd down, flat-footed, people in his face, and he's putting it on a dime. Okay, and that's just difficult. Okay, I'm not saying he's a top 5 guy. I'm not saying he's in a Patrick Mahomes tier or whatever. I'm just saying he is the dude. He is a top 10 quarterback in my eyes. No doubt about it. He's a top 10 guy. I think by the end of the year, more and more people will be like, yeah, he's a lock top 10 guy because he just gets it done. I don't care if you don't like how it looks. I don't care if he was drafted in the last pick overall. Like, he just gets it done. He gets it done. It may not be how you want it to look, but he freaking gets it done, okay? And he was great. So don't let that stat line fool you from last night. Lastly, I'm a little concerned about CMC. Now, it obviously helps when you have Jordan Mason going for 147 yards and a touchdown, but I'm concerned because, and then the Niners are right to slow play this thing. They were right to sit him out last night because if you pop an Achilles, this is what it is. It's not just like a calf strain. It's the threat and the fear of a popped Achilles. And if that happens, that's a big problem. This is not a team that's like just trying to get into the playoffs. If it was a team that was like, man, we're trying to break through and get into the playoffs, who would that be? Man, I'm trying to think in the league. Like the Bears, but man, did Caleb Williams look bad. I don't know. Just like a team that's been on the cusp, like the Saints maybe, who last year underperformed, missed the playoffs. If they're like that and they're like, if you could just get into the playoffs, you'd be happy, maybe you'd rush them back. This team is playing for the Super Bowl, okay? This team's playing for the Super Bowl. So they need to slow play it. They need to give him however many weeks it takes because you need him. I need McCaffrey 100% healthy in November and December going into the playoffs. But it's concerning. It's very concerning to think that he could have a more drastic injury. And it's concerning to think great. We have Jordan Mason, but you are one Jordan Mason injury away from having a bigger problem on your hands. I like Isaac Guerrero, the rookie. Do I want him to tote the rock 28 times a game? Not really. The beautiful thing about Mason is when McCaffrey is healthy, you have a great 1-2 punch and you have some depth. Without McCaffrey, you've got just Mason, and he runs physical, and it's not a lock that he doesn't get hurt. So that's what concerns me. If I had to guess, I think CMC will be out for sure this week. And I can't stop coughing. I really apologize, guys. He'll be out this week. And I think there's a good chance he would be out against the Rams because they also play on turf. You're playing that game in LA. So it feels like if you dominate the Vikings this week, which is no lock, by the way. We have not won a game in Minnesota since like 1993, 94. But if you dominate the Vikings the same kind of way you did the Jets, I would imagine they would just be like, look, let's take another week, get away from the turf. Then you come back-to-back home games on the grass against the Patriots and the Cardinals, and that would be a good timeline. But I don't know. We'll have to see. That's the big thing to watch. Point is, guys, the Niners look like they're the same team as last year. I would argue their defense is better, which is going to play huge dividends, and they look like they're rolling. Them boys came ready to play. They don't care about your offseason drama. They don't care about Nick Wright or Colin Cowherd picking the Rams to win the West. They don't care about any of that noise. They just care about hitting you in the face and winning football games, and it looks good. That's what I got for you guys today. Thank you. Guys, continue to subscribe. Remember, Thursday, we're going to announce the winner, so the video will probably come out Friday. Also, Wednesday Night Hang tomorrow. Every Wednesday, I'm going to do a preview of the coming week. Okay, we will have a live show Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. I'll put it out there. Come in, hang out, comment. We'll do live interactions. It's awesome stuff, okay? Hop in there. You guys are awesome. I got to get back to work. I'm out.